Hey film fans, it's Danny from We Talk Film, and I have sorted through all of the trailers, the press releases, the backstage gossip to figure out what is worth watching in the month of April so you don't have to. Now, I know I say every month that I've got something of every genre, but this time I think it might actually be true. So let's dive in.
I just want a normal life again. No.
I got it.
I found him. Who's that? Jesus? Can't afford it.
I don't know what the hell a Nike is.
What's a Converse?
NBA All-Star shoe.
My army! Koopas! Goombas! Whatever those things are! Aww. We will destroy the Mushroom Kingdom!
First up on the slate is Air. This is directed by Ben Affleck, and it reunites him with his longtime best friend Matt Damon. They are joined by an all-star cast, including Viola Davis, Jason Bateman, and Chris Tucker. It tells the true stories of Nike in the 1980s and their agents who were desperate to sign young, new star Michael Jordan as the spokesperson for their sneakers. In the process, they create the Air Jordan, one of the best-selling products of all time. Now, it sounded to me like quite a dry concept, but I have already seen this film. It's actually surprisingly funny. Laughs all the way through from a very charming cast. I think it will appeal to a wider audience, not just sports fans or sneakerheads. And definitely if you enjoyed Moneyball, The Big Short, The Wolf of Wall Street, this might be your sort of thing. That's Air. It's out in cinemas on the 5th of April.
My name's Sonny Vaccaro. I'm with Nike.
Do you typically make it a habit of showing up at people's front doors unannounced?
I don't like to take no for an answer. Believe in your son. I believe he's the future. And his story is gonna make us want to fly. But a shoe is just a shoe.
Until my son steps into it.
Next up is one for all the family, and that is the Super Mario Brothers movie. This is animated with voice acting from Chris Pratt, Jack Black, and Anya Taylor-Joy, and sees Mario, Luigi, and Princess Peach unite to stop Bowser from taking over the world. Now, all of the dialogue surrounding this film has just been about the fact that Chris Pratt is once again just playing himself and is doing a really weird voice for Mario. So I have no way of predicting if this will be any good or not. But if you want to see your favourite Nintendo characters on the big screen, it's worth taking a chance on. It's got to be better than the 80s one, right? Super Mario Brothers out in cinemas on the 7th of April.
I'm not afraid. I'll do anything for my brother.
We're going to save him.
Yes! Fire!
You asked for it. This is fun!
Finally in my top 3, and if you've ever seen literally any content we've ever made before, you know how much I love Nicolas Cage. So if he's got a new film out, it's always going to be in my lineup. This time I am talking about Renfield, which is a new Dracula movie. Yes, another one. It stars Nick Cage alongside Nicholas Hoult and Awkwafina. Cage plays Dracula. I don't need to explain who he is, right? Whilst Hoult plays his long-suffering familiar Renfield, who is desperate to get away from the Bloodsucker and start a life on his own. It looks absolutely ridiculous, pretty cheesy. If it's even half as good as the character of Guillermo in What We Do in the Shadows, then I'm sure it'll be brilliant, and it's worth giving a go because, come on, Nick Cage is always going to give you 110%. That's Renfield. It's out in cinemas on the 14th of April.
Renfield, bring me innocent victims. I want a handful of nuns, a busload of cheerleaders,
And I just want a normal life again.
and Dracula.
Okay, obviously we're dealing with a little bit more than just narcissism here.
Now, let's eat.
Now on to the best of the rest, and there are some proper gems that I had to miss out in my top 3, so do check them out. First up, are you up for a horror? A horror starring an Oscar winner? The Pope's Exorcist, starring Russell Crowe, is out on the 7th of April. The title explains it all, really. He plays a Vatican priest who is an exorcist, Has he got a terrible accent? Yes. Does it look really scary? Also yes. For this one, maybe avoid watching the trailer because I've just watched it and it has pretty much the entire film in it. But up for scares, Pope's Exorcist, 7th of April. Next up is an anime called Suzume, out on the 14th of April. This is the newest film from Makoto Shinkai, and if you don't know who that is, start paying attention because he's one to watch. This guy's animated films over the last few years have been breaking box office records, and critics have been calling him the natural successor to Studio Ghibli's Hayao Miyazaki. You can expect beautiful animation, colourful characters, and profound stories. Suzume is out in cinemas on the 14th of April. To wrap up, we've got two films that are both out on the 28th, both sort of light comedy, feel-good type films. The first is Paint, starring Owen Wilson. It's a satire where he's definitely playing a version of a Bob Ross type character. He was a big star on his local TV show where he does late night painting, but starts to feel insecure when a young female presenter starts to take some of his ratings. It looks quite funny. It's definitely got a feel of Anchorman about it, one worth checking out. And also out on the 28th, we have an adaptation of a best-selling young adult novel. It's Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. This is an adaptation of the famous Judy Blume novel, and it's a classic coming-of-age, feel-good story about a young girl moving to a new town, trying to make new friends and understand her life as she grows up and goes through puberty. One worth checking out. It's got Rachel McAdams, Kathy Bates, all sorts of good stuff in it. So yeah, that's also out on the 28th.
We must increase our bus!
And then I've definitely given you enough to be going on with. There's a couple of things that haven't quite snuck in here because they have a US release date this month, but still haven't confirmed a UK one, which is disappointing because they're big films. First up is Guy Ritchie's The Covenant, starring Jake Gyllenhaal, and then Ari Aster's Beau is Afraid, starring Joaquin Phoenix. So keep a keen eye out, because as soon as we hear when those are out, I will give you an update. But until then, please do keep chatting to us on all our socials. Let us know if you see any of these films. Do you love them? Do you hate them? Do you think we should have picked something else? As ever, I'm Danny. This is We Talk Film. Come join us.